So in today's video, I'll be talking about the famous Amazon Squeegee. This is a very popular squeegee among beginners. It's probably one of the first places you look to get a squeegee is on Amazon if you don't want to commit to one of the more expensive ones. So these guys come in several different sizes. This is a 13-inch one, and then I have this is about an 11-inch one, and then I also have about a 4-inch one. So they come in different sizes. They're pretty versatile. The durometer is 75. So if you're not familiar with what a durometer is, it's pretty much the flexibility in the rubber. So a 60 durometer is very flexible. And then the higher up you go, the stiffer the rubber gets. So you can really drive in the ink into your garments. So every durometer has an application. So every screen printer has a preference of what durometer they like. Usually people stick to a 70 durometer, but it really just depends on the job. Sometimes you want a thicker durometer or a higher number in your durometer so you can drive in the ink, especially when you're working with white inks and higher mesh counts on your screens. Those can be tricky to work with, so you want a higher durometer sometimes so you can really push that ink through. So as you can tell, I've used this one for a while now. I use it every now and then. It's not like my go-to. So one of the first things you'll want to do when you get it is add some painter's tape to it. That helps keep it cleaner for longer. As you can tell, the rubber isn't very tall, and that can sometimes be an issue, especially on this one. It's very thin because ink builds up on this. So it starts driving itself up into the wooden handle. And if you push down on it, it'll eventually get on your hands, which will get all over the place, which will make a very messy situation. So that's one of the biggest complaints on the reviews that I've read on Amazon on these. And it is true, ink will start building up on this and eventually will creep up. As you can tell, this is pretty dirty here. So every now and then you want to just change up the painter's tape so you can keep it nice and clean. As far as the question of do they work or not? Well, yes, they do. It's a 75 durometer, and I find that that's like the perfect sweet spot between not too soft and not too hard. So it will definitely drive in the white inks that are the toughest to get into your garments, and it'll leave a nice smooth pass over your screens. I don't really have any complaints over these. If you're a beginner and you don't really want to commit to spending a lot of money like on one of the Riley Hopkins or screenprinting.com ones, which are metal, you can start out with these guys. And they're a great introduction into screen printing without having to commit such a large amount of money. Eventually though, you will want to upgrade to one of these. So these, the advantage they have is, if you can tell, the handle is pretty thick. So they're more ergonomic. And if you're printing very large runs with these, it's way more comfortable on your shoulders and on your hands. As you can tell, these are very thin, so you're having to squeeze your hand in. Sometimes your hands can cramp up if you have a large amount of orders or shirts that you're doing that day. So eventually you will want to upgrade to one of these. You can also tell how thick or how much larger this area is, so ink does not build up as much or get all over the handle. Here's another example of one of the more pro squeegees. So you can tell how thick this is. It's about 1 inch. So compared to this, which is like ½ an inch. So with this being taller, it just helps ink not to creep up into this area. So if you're debating whether or not these are worth it, I say they're worth it, especially if you're starting out. I've been printing for close to a year now, and I still use it every now and then because it's a good squeegee to have. I like the durometer of 75, and they're pretty durable. So I have no complaints on these other than the ink building up. But I use water-based inks, so I just pressure wash them and they look like new. Eventually though, this will get dirty. and it will look like this. But for now, I say yes, go ahead and get these, and they're a great introduction into screen printing.